Okay, so if we sorted every single Disney princess into a Hogwarts house, Hogwarts from Harry Potter, of course, which house would they belong in, right? I don't know, but let's find out. Now, we do have all the princes here. We have the princesses here in this list, and we're gonna go sort them in the house. But caveat, right? All these princesses, generally speaking, aren't 11, 12 years old where they would be sorted in houses, right? In the Harry Potter universe, the kids are sorted into houses at about the age of 11. And except for maybe Vanellope Von Sweet, all of these princesses are a little bit older than that. Well, we can't help that. We'll sort them as we know them right now. Now, let's go over whether the qualities of these houses here. In case you guys don't know Harry Potter, Harry Potter is a character that goes to a school called Hogwarts, and Hogwarts has 4 houses, and every student that goes to Hogwarts is sorted into one of these 4 houses. These are 4 dormitories, 4 places where they, where throughout their entire education, 7 years of education, they get to know each other, they eat with their houses, they play sports together with their houses, right? So their houses are very core to their experience and their identity at Hogwarts. And each house has certain traits that are associated with it, and the kids generally are chosen to be part of these houses based on their traits. So let's start with the first house. Gryffindor. Gryffindor. This is from the Harry Potter website, so this is official. And it says, of course, there, you might belong in Gryffindor, where dwell the brave at heart. Their daring nerve and chivalry set Gryffindors apart. So bravery, courage, conviction, that is very much a Gryffindor trait. And I do think a lot of princesses do have a lot of these traits there. But let's take a look at some of these other traits as well there. Hufflepuff. You might belong in Hufflepuff, where they are just and loyal. Those patient Hufflepuffs are true and unafraid of toil. So Hufflepuffs are very loyal. They are just, they're patient, and they're hard workers, right? That's what a Hufflepuff is. Ravenclaw. Or yet in wise old Ravenclaw, if you've a ready mind, where those of wit and learning will always find their kind. Ravenclaws are known to be intelligent, they're curious, they're interested in learning. And there's quite a few princesses that I think fit that bill. And finally, Slytherin. Now, some of you say, hey, Slytherin, that's an evil house. None of these princesses are evil. That's not necessarily true. We have seen examples of Slytherins that aren't evil. The potions teacher, Slughorn, I don't think is an evil person. And he's Slytherin. Or perhaps in Slytherin, you'll make your real friends. Those cunning folks use any means to achieve their ends. So it's cunning, a very sort of way of approaching the world. Maybe not directly, but with some wit about you, is what defines a Slytherin. And I think that that is what we're going to use here for the princesses, because none of them are really evil. Okay, so let's get to this list here. We have a long list here. We have a lot of people to go. If you are, if you're watching this on YouTube, right, and you see the thumbnail, I think that for some reason, I don't know what it is, but I think that I could easily see Belle from Beauty and the Beast as a member of Hogwarts, as a wizard, or witch, I should say, right? I don't know why, for some reason, but I just picture Belle as very, and Hogwarts just kind of goes together. You know, maybe it has something to do with the live action. But I put her in Ravenclaw. And I think that's a very obvious choice to put Belle in Ravenclaw, because Belle is a very smart individual. She's very curious. She loves reading. Absolutely loves reading. Out of all the princesses, she is the greatest bookworm, right? And Ravenclaws are all about pursuing knowledge. They're about curiosity. They're about learning. And Belle, I think, has that natural talent there. Natural talent. Devin, who needs sleep? Who needs sleep when we got princesses to sort? Okay, so clear Ravenclaw. We got Belle there. That's an easy one. They're not all going to be easy, but there are a few that are going to be a little bit easier than others. Let's go ahead and sort our first Slytherin. It's like, oh my gosh, Slytherin. How are you going to easy Slytherin? I think that's Jasmine. Jasmine. Jasmine is one of the most cunning characters, one of the most cunning princesses in the series. If you remember in Aladdin, right at the end there, and Aladdin is trying to trick Jafar, right? But one of the things that Jafar wants is for Jasmine to fall in love with him, right? And so Jasmine plays along with that. Jasmine says, "Oh yeah, I love you," even though as a genie, the genie can't grant wishes that deal with love, right? He says that clearly straight on, right from the beginning, says, I can't, one of the rules is, I can't make someone fall in love with you, right? But Jafar doesn't know that. Jafar doesn't know that, and Jasmine plays along, and she's very cunning, and she makes Jafar think that his wish came true. Not to mention the fact that she snuck out of the palace to, get to know the poor members of her society. She's naturally just a very cunning person that will approach things from a different angle, and I think that gives her some very strong Slytherin traits. So yeah, easy Slytherin. I don't know if any of these are easy characters to sort, and if you guys disagree with me, of course, let me know. But I definitely think that Jasmine fits in as Slytherin. Let's go ahead and add in a couple of the characters there. Because I think that if we were to have a clear Hufflepuff, I think it's Rapunzel. Remember, Hufflepuffs are loyal. They're loyal. They're patient. They're unafraid of toil. Rapunzel is constantly working. When we see her at the beginning, she's constantly working. She's very patient. She's lived in a tower her entire life. I don't know how old Rapunzel is by the time the movie starts, but she's a teenager. She's a teenager. I think she's also an older teenager, at least, if not a young adult. So she has been patiently living in this tower, which is quite amazing. She hasn't. I don't think she has a lot of book learning. I think she's a little bit curious, but I don't think she's a Ravenclaw. She hasn't had a lot of book learning. She hasn't had access to a lot of books. She hasn't tried to trick her mother into leaving the tower, and she hasn't courageously, like a Gryffindor, just simply left, right? She has been very loyal to her mother. She's been patient, right? So I think she is clear Hufflepuffs. Hufflepuffs are also kind of known for secondary traits of just kind of being kind as a result, but I don't think that necessarily needs to apply here. I think she fits those other traits perfectly well by herself. So she sits in a tower for a very, very long time. But the key thing that I think takes it away for Rapunzel is that in the end, at the climax of the movie, by the way, spoilers in case you haven't seen any of these movies, is her mother wants her to stay in the tower, and Eugene is dying. And her solution, her proposal to everyone is loyal to both Eugene, who she loves, and her mother. She says, if you let me heal him, if you let me heal Eugene, I will never leave this tower. I will stay with you forever. That's what she says to her mother. If you let me heal Eugene, right? Because she's loyal to Eugene and wants to save him, but she'll be willing to be loyal to her mother in order to do so, right? Her solution is loyalty, right? That is such a Hufflepuff trait. She's not trying to kill her mother. She's not trying to trick her mother. She's saying earnestly, I will be loyal if you let me save him. I mean, I just saying that that's a clear Hufflepuff to me. Okay, but you're saying, okay, Kevin, you've sorted out one of each category so far, except for Gryffindor. Who's your first Gryffindor pick? I think it's clear. It's Anna. Anna is the sister of Elsa. They're in Frozen, but Anna is a very straightforward character, right? Anna's very straightforward. I don't think she has studied very much, so she's not much of a Ravenclaw, and she's not very patient. She's always knocking on the door. Do you want to build a snowman? Right? She's constantly bothering Elsa. She gets engaged very quickly. There's no patience there, right? And I don't think she's extremely cunning. When she wants something, when she wants to go save Elsa, she just leaves. She just goes straight into the snow. She immediately tries to just push forward. She's very courageous. She's willing to brave anything for her sister, but she doesn't seem to be a very, very cunning character. So I honestly think that for Gryffindor, I would go ahead and put in Anna. Anna as our Gryffindor character. Her hair is like very red. A lot of redheads in Gryffindor from the Weasley family. So okay, so that's good. So that's four out of the I don't know how many princesses we have, but a lot of princesses. Okay, and there's a few other easy ones. Jane, I think, is a clear Ravenclaw. She's a scientist. She loves research. She loves studying. She loves trying to get to. She went on an expedition into the jungle because of her research. So I think that she's a very clear Ravenclaw, right? She's trying to study and understand the world. Okay, and I think that makes a ton of sense. It makes a ton of sense for her. Okay, who do we think might be another Slytherin? Well, I think Esmeralda. I think she's a very cunning and very intelligent person. She knows kind of what the score is in her society, and she's kind of, unfortunately, I think, prejudiced against in her society, but she is able to navigate it well. So I really think that she is a very capable Slytherin, and she is cunning, right? She is truly able to understand that. Snow White goes into Hufflepuff. She's a loyal to her friend. She's loyal to the dwarves, right? She now you might say, oh, Kevin, she was loyal to the dwarves because they took her in, right? And she had nowhere else to go. She's a very capable princess, but once she got on her feet because of the dwarves, she could have gone anywhere else. She could have moved on, right? But instead, she's like, you know what? I'm going to take care of the house. I'm going to work hard, right? She works hard to take care of 7 dwarves who basically, I don't think, take care of, the house or themselves necessarily, right? So I think that she's been very, very, very true to what a Hufflepuff is. She's extremely loyal. Gryffindor, I think there's a very obvious Gryffindor candidate. And that's Merida. Yeah, that's Merida, right? From Brave. I mean, literally, Brave is the name of the movie. I was trying to see if I could get. There it is, Brave, right there, Brave. That's the name of the movie. Literally, she is a movie called Brave. Gryffindors are all about courage, right? They're all about having daring and nerve. Yeah, that's Merida. Not only is it because the name of the movie just fits Gryffindor, but she's an extremely courageous character, right? She is willing to oppose the challenges of her parents by entering the contest herself. She is going to great lengths to try and save her mother, and will stand up for herself. She's outspoken. Yeah, I do think that you might be able to say like, oh, maybe she's a little cunning because she tries to get around the situation with her parents. I'm like, I don't think she was the cunning one. I think she just kind of stumbled upon a solution that wasn't to her liking eventually. Right, but I do think that she, generally speaking, is outspoken and saying, "Hey, you know what? I'm not happy about this. I want this to change." And she definitely butts heads with her family. Right, she's not going to go along with her family. She's not necessarily "quote unquote" loyal. Right, so she fits perfectly in the Gryffindor. So yeah, we're not going to sort this out all evenly like this all the time. By the way, I'm just simply going through. I'm going through the easy ones. Which is not gonna always be, not always going to be easy. Okay, let's find. Oh man, some of these are harder than others. Okay, let's think about Vanellope Von Sweet, the only one character here that maybe is of the appropriate age range. Is she curious? I don't think she's curious. I don't think she's a curious character. I think she's dealing with a lot of challenges, and she wants to race. She definitely wants to race, but she's not trying to learn knowledge. she's not willing to be loyal to the rules or her fellow racers. She wants to win. She wants to beat them. She cares about people, but she doesn't have any kind of loyalty to start. I'm definitely thinking it's either Slytherin or Gryffindor. I think she has a bit of courage. I'm gonna guess that she's more of a Slytherin, and here's why. When she tries to race originally in Wreck-It Ralph, I think she puts together her own car, right? Her own vehicle. She's always trying to find a way to get in, a way to make things work, and I think that means she's very smart. I think she's a brave character. She's a brave person, but I don't necessarily think that she's always like going at things, head first. She's trying to find a way forward, and she's thinking things through, right? Ralph, of their friendship, Ralph is the I'm gonna wreck it, right? I'm going to go and do things now, and Vanellope is sort of the brains of the operation. So I think that she is a Slytherin. This is gonna be tricky. I think Ariel might be a Ravenclaw, right? She's always saying like I want to be where the people are. I want to see them dancing. She's curious, What's a fire and what's the word? Burn. She's asking questions. She wants to know more knowledge. A lot of it does have to do with the human world, right? There's a lot she could probably learn under the sea. But I think that, just because you have a specific area of interest doesn't disqualify you from your curiosity. And as a Ravenclaw, she would fit in naturally with other Ravenclaws who are curious, who are trying to figure things out. Yeah. You almost set your house on fire when you were a kid, Miss Garcia, and your grandpa was in it? Oh my gosh, Miss Garcia. Jeez. Well, maybe you need somebody to put out the fire. Let it go, can't hold me back anymore. Elsa, I don't know who wear the sword either. I don't think she's a Gryffindor, right? For her, most of her life, she was trying to hide her abilities, right? She wasn't, now to be fair, that's because her parents told her to do so, but she wasn't confronting it, right? She's always, when confronted by her people saying, you have ice powers, she ran away. That's not a really Gryffindor trait. And I don't know if I would necessarily call that a Hufflepuff trait, right? Where she was a queen, and yet she left her people. She was found out. Is she a Ravenclaw or a Slytherin? Oh, you ran out, Miss Garcia. You didn't tell him about the fire. You didn't tell your grandpa about the fire, the house on fire. Jeez, Miss Garcia. I don't know. You might not be a Hufflepuff. Hufflepuffs would tell their grandparents a house is on fire. There might be a curiosity there about like her powers and her past, and we do see a lot of the curiosity in Frozen 2, right? Where she's constantly hearing voices and she's kind of trying to figure things out. I don't think she's necessarily cunning. I don't think that she's trying to trick people, with her abilities, and she never uses her abilities to trick someone. But she is curious. She wants to know where she comes from, and in Frozen 2, we see a lot of that. A lot of her just searching for answers, searching for what happens. A lot of that is personal, but I think out of all of these characters, I think she's a Ravenclaw. She's not necessarily, she doesn't stay queen of her kingdom. She doesn't, confront things she doesn't push back when confronted. And I don't think she's very cunning. I think Ravenclaw is the best fit. I'm glad everything was already in, Miss Garcia, with the fire there. Yeah. So, yeah. Milan? You think Milan should be a Gryffindor? That's a tough one. Mulan, I have debated between Mulan being a Slytherin or a Gryffindor. Okay, in terms of loyalty, she doesn't listen to her family, right? She doesn't kind of follow. She almost brings dishonor to them, right, by running away. So I don't think she's loyal, and there's nothing really about curiosity there. In terms of Ravenclaw, she's very brave, right? She goes and joins the military and she fights the Huns. That's an extremely brave trait. But also, let's talk about every single cunning thing that that she's done, right? One, she stole her father's armor to save his life. Two, she pretended to be a man, right? I mean, that's trickery right there. Three, she defeated the Hun army by not targeting the leader or the army itself, but by bringing down a mountain. Four, she saved the emperor's life by convincing her friends to all disguise themselves as concubines. Let's be honest here. These are all very amazing plans, but they're all extremely cunning. She does do it out of sacrifice. She does do it out of sacrifice, but she never really attacks a problem head on. So while I think that she does have courage as a Gryffindor, and let's be honest, all of these princesses really have courage, I think her cunning gives her a slight advantage and light edge, and we just slaughter in Slytherin. All of these characters in Slytherin are very smart, capable, and they think they kind of think outside the box. Outside the box there, and I think that Mulan fits in that category. Although definitely Gryffindor, it's a tough one. It's a tough one with Gryffindor, right? Absolutely. This honestly is a lot more balanced. This is a lot more balanced than I thought I would realize. But it's very true. It's very true. Cinderella is a Hufflepuff, right? She's very patient and a hard worker, right? You know, she's not afraid to toil. She's constantly working to support her stepsisters and her stepmother. She's extremely patient. She wants to go to the ball, and she's willing to work on her dress with the help of her animal friends. And she's devastated, of course, when their stepsisters, everything break the dress. But she's loyal to her family. She stayed with her family despite being mistreated for years upon years after her father died. I don't know about you, but that's an extreme, a loyal trait right there. So I really think that Cinderella is a Hufflepuff. She never tried to trick her stepsisters, right? She's loyal. Okay. Oh man, this is getting to the tough one. In Enchanted the movie, right? We have let me I'm just going to check the Wikipedia really quick and see if there's anything about Giselle that was like kind of like would give us away here. Let's see. Poison apple, forest. She ends up in New York. She's trying to convince this person to see things a different way. I think she cleans an apartment. Someone or almost poisons Giselle, I think. Yes. And she feels guilt and anguish for leaving Robert behind. Okay, so there's a bit of loyalty there. And then she kisses Robert at the stroke of midnight and such. Okay, so that's an interesting. Okay. Where would we put Giselle? Is she really curious when she enters a new world? I don't think so. I think she spends more of her time trying to help this man kind of realize, find himself a bit more. I don't think she's a trickster or she's very cunning. You know, Robert, Miss Garcia? I'd say she's a Hufflepuff. Even though she's a princess, she was willing to like clean an apartment. She's unafraid of toil. She was trying to be just to people. I think she's a Hufflepuff, right? When she enters the park, she's engaging with everyone. She's very kind. I think I would put Giselle as a Hufflepuff. I think she fits there. We're not gonna be like everyone else, where just Hufflepuff is just where we just throw everyone that we don't know how to classify. Although sometimes people do that. I'm a Hufflepuff, so I don't think that's. I think I like the loyal aspect. I like the loyal aspect a lot. Speaking of loyalty or the lack of loyalty, Moana. Moana, I don't think is a Hufflepuff, right? She is constantly trying to go against what her father and mother say. You know, especially her father, right? Saying like, "Don't go in the water, don't go out." She literally gets in a boat and tries to go out to sea. She's questioning what her destiny is. She's very she loves her people and she loves her sea, and that loyalty is a big conflict to her. So maybe she's a Hufflepuff because she's loyal to everything, but it's hard to say. She might be a Ravenclaw because she is curious. She does listen to her grandma, that's true. She's very curious about the ocean and she wants to see what's out there. You know, she wants to see how far she'll go. And I don't think she's very cunning, right? She's not trying to ever trick people. And she is courageous. She says, you know, where she's like, but she tries to hype herself out when to confront Maui, right? Like, so she's not. If it were like maybe Anna would just kind of go up to them and says, hey, you know, I need your help, right? But Moana maybe not be as courageous. So that's fine. I think the conflict and loyalty is disqualifies her from Hufflepuff, even though she loves her people and the sea. I think she's a Ravenclaw. I think Moana fits in Ravenclaw. She wants to know about, you know, what's out there. She wants to go out to sea, right? Just like Ariel wants to know about the surface, Moana wants to know about the sea. So I think that she's a very clear Ravenclaw. Okay, so yeah. Hey, we're doing pretty good here. We're almost down. We're almost down to like some of these other princesses. Where would we put Pocahontas? Okay, Pocahontas, you know, is Native American. She sings "Just Around the River Bend," and she's trying to teach John Smith about the colors of the wind. Okay, I don't think there's a lot of curiosity about the old world, about John Smith in there. There's a little bit, but not a lot. And she's not trying to trick him as much as she's trying to teach them, right? She also loves her tribe, but she doesn't know if she wants to marry the tribesman, right? No, what's his name? Coco? I forget the name. Kokomon. I think that Pocahontas is a Gryffindor. She's willing to bravely engage with John Smith when a lot of the other members of her tribe are unwilling to necessarily get to know these people from Europe, right? She's willing to sacrifice herself and to protect John Smith from being killed, right? She's willing to try and teach somebody about her world, about the colors of the wind. I think she's very brave. I think she's very brave. I wouldn't necessarily, she could be loyal, but she's willing to go against her father, which is her bravery, which would be against loyalty, right? It's not necessarily disloyal. It's more like she's valuing her convictions more than she's valuing what her father thinks she should do. And I think that's a very Gryffindor trait. So I would think that's true as well. I would also put Raya as a Gryffindor, right? She is trying to, put together the gem. She's trying to like save the world. She encounters her rival and she fights. She's a fighter. So I think Raya is definitely Gryffindor due to her courage. She's loyal to her father. But I think that her strength and her convictions and her willingness to trust other people, including someone that maybe other people aren't willing to trust, is a sign of her courage. It's not loyalty. It's more like conviction. It's saying like, I am trusting you to do what is necessary here to save us. And I think Raya definitely clear Gryffindor. Okay, guys. I don't know what to put Tinkerbell. I think is she a Slytherin? Because she's constantly pulling tricks on people, right? Maybe is she pulling tricks on people? I think so. She's not curious. I don't think she's a curious character. She's impatient. I think she is impatient, especially when it comes to Peter Pan. She might be brave. She might be a Gryffindor. Tinkerbell's mischievous. I think she's a little selfish too. I think she's a little too mischievous and selfish. I think that puts her in the cunning category. I think she's a Slytherin. I don't think that necessarily means she's bad, right? She's not evil, but I think she's a little trickster, right? And we're putting all the trickster characters down here. These characters are honestly, this is a strong team right here in the bottom here. These 5 princesses, like, together would be able to, like, outplay a good portion of other people in general here, right? But they're very smart. They're very smart there. Aurora, do you think she's a Hufflepuff? She grew up with the fairies, so she didn't grow up as princess, so she's used to hard work. And I don't think that there was really anything in particular that defined her as, like, maybe brave or cunning. I think she loved her adopted mothers. I guess that's a good way of saying it. So I think I would classify Aurora as a Hufflepuff. Although let me know if you disagree, because could be anything. Okay. What about oh man, the name escapes me, from Atlantis. How can I forget Atlantis princess? Kita. Sorry. Kita. Where do we put Kita? Is she brave like a Gryffindor? Is she loyal to her civilization? Right? Is she curious about the outside world, right? Because she met Milo. Or she's trying to trick people. No, she's not a Slytherin. She's definitely one of these 3 categories. And I think I'm debating between these 2. One, she is very, very curious about the outside world, and her culture, but she sacrifices herself. She sacrifices herself for her people, right? That's a big thing. That's a big thing right there. Although maybe that was not intentional. Like maybe there could have been a better way. She's like all of the above. You think she's all of the above? That's a hard one. I think Kita's a very, very difficult person to classify. Atlantis movie. Where's the wiki? There it is. The Lost Empire. I always called it Atlantis, but apparently it's Atlantis: The Lost Empire. There's a whole name over there. Yeah, Kita asked Milo for help uncovering their forgotten history and highly advanced technology. That's a very Ravenclaw thing to do, right? And everything, but Kita will be lost forever if she's not soon separated from the crystal. Yeah, I don't think she's willing to sacrifice. She wants Milo she wants help from Milo. So she's not, I wouldn't say loyalty, maybe Ravenclaw or Gryffindor. I'd say she goes with Ravenclaw, because as soon as Milo and the other surface dwellers come in, she wants to get to know them. She's curious. She worked with Milo to uncover the lost technology. She sees him as a somebody who can help their society with knowledge. She values knowledge. She values technology. And so I think she fits in well with all of these other princesses who also value sort of that discovery. Which leads us to Tiana, the final princess here. Where do we sort Tiana in these categories? Is she tricky like a Slytherin? Maybe she's a hard worker, so she's a Hufflepuff. Is she curious about things? I don't think Tiana is as curious about things. Or is she a Gryffindor? Is she brave? I think a lot of people are very brave Gryffindors. We know she's a hard worker, right? She has been working her entire life so that she could open her own restaurant, right? She's worked many jobs. She's saved up. Hufflepuff as a hard worker, that may be it. She loves her father. She loves her mother, right? She cares about them very deeply, and the words that her father told her when she was little continue to resonate in her. Is that loyalty? Maybe it's loyalty. You might even say that she didn't forget about her animal friends when she was a frog. She made a lot of friends, including with the alligator, and then the alligator, continues to be, her friend and help her even after she turns back into a human, right? We even see that in the new ride at Disneyland, Tiana's Bayou Adventure, right, where they're trying to have a party, and she's working with the alligator to find a band. Is it Lewis? I think it's Lewis, right? Is it Louis or Louis? I think it's Lewis. It's not Princess Frog. It's the princess and the frog. Okay, it's Lewis. It's Lewis, or is it Louis? Oh man, is it pronunciation? It's the same thing, really. Lewis and Louis are spelled the same. I'm gonna say Lewis. I think the hardworking aspect does play a big role because she is one of the most hardworking princesses. She has 2 or 3 jobs, just saving up money. And I think the fact that she has is loyal to her friends around her is a big Hufflepuff trait. She does face some pretty crazy stuff, and she is courageous, but I don't necessarily think she's curious or a trickster. I think she's a hard worker. And so I think I put Tiana as a Hufflepuff. But a lot of these princesses, honestly, they could be sorted into a lot of different categories. They could really all be Gryffindors, right? They could all be Hufflepuffs. No, maybe not necessarily all Slytherins or Ravenclaws, but generally speaking, I think that this is a good assignment of these characters and where they would be sorted into Hogwarts, right? I think Anna is a very brave character. She's very straightforward. I think Ariel is curious about the world, and she literally is collecting a lot of different things that sink into the sea, a lot of junk, you might even say, because she's so curious. I think that Mulan has 5 different plans, and she thinks outside the box. Right, and she's a very cunning character, right? And I think that Cinderella's a hard worker, and she's been working for her family. She's been loyal to her family for years, despite them mistreating her. I mean, that's a Hufflepuff trait. But hey, let me know in the comments. Let me know in chat or the comments if you think I'm wrong. If there are any characters that you would sort in a different house, you've put in a different place, right? Maybe you think Belle is a Gryffindor, because she's played by Emma Watson, and well, for those of you guys who don't know who Emma Watson is, yeah, Gryffindor. But she also played Belle in Beauty and the Beast. So that's my joke at the beginning, is that maybe Belle is Hermione Granger. If that rings a bell. But okay, guys, this is always fun. It's always fun to do these tier lists with these princesses. Let me know if there are any sort of... Megara's not on a list. Technically, she's not a princess. So she's not on a list. Sorry, Meg's not on a list. But let me know if you want to see what kind of lists you want to see in the future, what kind of categories, what kind of questions we might want to ask, how we might want to sort these princesses things, or what other kinds of characters you want to see. Do you want to see villains? Do you want to see the princes? Do you want to see just Pixar characters, right? Let me know in the comments what you want to see. And yeah, this was fun. This is who I'd sort into each house. Take care, guys. Have a good night. I'll see you later. Bye-bye. Technically, Tinkerbell was a princess before, and she was removed from a princess because she joined her own fairy line. But beforehand, she was classified as a princess. So that's right. Good night.